I'm Richard Buckland, commonly known as RC. I was in the United States Navy as a pharmacist mate. One of the things that I always regretted and felt somewhat guilty about is I never got into action. I only took care of the people that were wounded and come back to this country. And I think all of us that saw no action have a certain amount of guilt because of that. When I went in the service, you never give it a thought. You were fighting for your country, the survival of your country. It wasn't the benefits you might derive from it. However, we did have some benefits from it that we did not expect. One was the GI Bill, which was a blessing to so many of us in the service who couldn't have gotten to college without it. And then the ability to back our first mortgage. That was a great thing when you were starting a family. You didn't have much money. It got us off on the right track. And through the years that I have associated with different veterans, pretty much those that in my category feel pretty much the same way. We didn't expect anything from the government, but we appreciated what we got because we were fighting for our country, and glad that I did. I have no regrets. Fortunately, I'm the one that I didn't get wounded, but I took care of many that did, both physically and mentally. I worked in a psychiatric ward for a while, and some of the people that then it was shell shock are now known by other names. But the horror of the war that they saw, the things that they saw around them, stuck with them for years. Many of them never recovered. And when I see so many of the people that don't respect the flag, and I think what we fought to keep it makes me angry. It really does. And the people that don't show a sign of respect for the flag. You see them visiting, gossiping, eating when the Star Spangled Banner is sang, or the flag goes by. And it's irritating to us that fought for it. And I guess we fought for your right to ignore it. But it's hard for us that see it a different way. But the best thing our country can do today, I think we've got to listen to one another. Even if we have divergent viewpoints, we should listen to one another, because in the divergent viewpoints there's some seed that makes us stop and think, and maybe between the seed I have and you have, we come out with a common denominator that's going to help us all. And Lord knows we need it.
My name is Joseph Phillips. I was in the Army from 1962 to 68. And my number is RA 13783-570. I remember that. That's cool. And my experience in the Army was was stationed at Old 3rd Army in Arlington, Virginia. But during that time in 1962, my experience with the Army was the missile crisis in Cuba. I remember all of us sitting in the barracks, bags all packed, ready to go, just in case the Soviet Union wanted to invade Cuba. So it was a very trying experience at that time. And that was a period of my life, and I enjoyed it for a period of time. And so the other part of my life was that when I was in the Army, I had an opportunity to be on the gravesite of President Kennedy when he was assassinated. And by me in the Army, the 3rd Herd in Arlington Cemetery, that was a military cemetery where I was working. And I had an opportunity to stand guard on his gravesite. This before the actual gravesite was built. And that was very trying and very solemn experience I had. I suppose that if I wanted to, as a senior citizen and a military person, I see today we have a lot of issues of racism, young and old, and I'm glad to see, and I have looked and I've seen people, young people, want to get involved in changing the course of life, and that's good. And sometimes we get so complacent that that's not it isn't my thing, but it is. Everybody has a responsibility to do something to make our world different. If everybody has the attitude that I'll let the other guy do it, it'll get done. So I'm glad to hear and see that young people are really wanting to get involved, and that's how things are going to change. That you want to make things, you want to do something.
Hi, my name is Stan Olson, and I'm a Navy vet of World War II, serving in May to 19 months later, served on Guam on a submarine base. Well, the strange part of the war was when I left Honolulu to go to Guam, the ship I was on was a hospital ship, and I forget the name of it now, but when we anchored in Guam, it was VJ Day, believe it or not, exact day.
Wow.
And we were restricted to the ship, so we couldn't celebrate like everybody else was. And there were parties going everywhere and people yelling and screaming, and everybody was happy, and that was my introduction to the war, as it so-called. But we still had the Japanese in the jungles shooting at us because they didn't think the war was over. They didn't believe it. So we had quite on the incidents where shots were fired at us and that kind of stuff. But nothing came of it other than you had to be careful where you went.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Hayes, United States Air Force, 28 years.
And your rank?
Oh, Major.